that this school takes its Scottish traditions seriously. We are the Highlanders. Our band does have a uniform that is made in Scotland from Scottish wool that you can see here on the curtains in my office. And we actually teach a course in bagpiping and have bagpipers with their full Scottish regalia who not only lead our instrumental band program, but who are called upon by this entire community, including the White House, to frequently play and perform. It's a unique and wonderful part of the tradition that we have here at this school. Academic excellence has been a tradition at the school.
Our school provides classes like the current affairs class and others that aren't at any other school. Our administration has taken the initiative to bring them to us, and it just helps us understand more than the core curriculum.
If then a man has the theory without the experience, and recognizes the universal but does not know the individual included in this, he will often fail to cure, for it is the individual that has to be cured.
But if Asia is going to be our big market, what are they going to be needing over there? Fords, industrial parts, exactly.
Well, it's not like we haven't learned about it before. You know, we've always learned about prejudice and discrimination, but I guess we need to find a way where we can really stop it. You know, we always learn about it and we're educated about it, but it doesn't seem to stop.
Why is he funny? Why is Goofy the funniest? Because he has big floppy ears?
Integumentary system, okay. Now, if you take the skin off, what's the next thing you come to? Muscle. Good, okay. Now, the muscle, if you pull off the muscle, you will start to see some tendons that connect the muscle to the bone. And this part up here, see that flipping over here, this part that kind of flips over this end? That's the cartilage, and that's protecting the ends of the bone as it moves.
One of our teachers, our English teacher, she was giving us a lesson today on transcendentalism or whatever, and it was just basically teaching us how to learn for ourselves, and that the feelings that we have inside a lot of time are right, because when you're in an environment like this, you always learn that okay, what's written here is right, this is fact, this is what you'll know, and this is how it has to be. But what she was teaching us was that sometimes the feelings that you have inside can also be universal, and what you're feeling is also right.
We've initiated a program at the 9th grade level to assist students in their transition out of the new middle school concept into a diverse high school program. So we have social studies, English, math, science linked together. We've brought in a learning specialist and a special educator to work on this team.
And I'll give you guys a copy of all of this, but we still need to decide on a date for the rough draft and then the final paper presentation.
Now, none of you, at the end of the quarter, do any of you have any projects coming due?
Nothing out of class. I have.
That newspaper article is due on the 16th.
Yeah, the 16th.
That's the final, right.
Nothing from there.
Test scheduled for the 16th, but I can bump it up to the 21st.
I would say that the teachers here, they really do care. They care whether you learn or not. It's like they'll do anything to help you learn. Like my Latin teacher, she will do anything to help you learn. They're a very dedicated staff. I could say that much. They really want to make sure that you're doing okay. They want to know about you personally. They want to get to know you as a person. So I'd say that they're dedicated and they really do care about us.
And a
along with that, they're always willing to stay after school and put in time to help anybody.
Academic excellence has been a tradition at the school, and yet the school is permeated with a lot of creativity.
The Rock.
As in the Rock.
As in the Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock. It's got about 18 billion layers of paint on it.
The object that we all spray paint. It's kind of, it can be used as a promotional sort of billboard where you can spray paint this play's coming up, this is going on, or sometimes a sports team wins something and they spray paint it #1 and all this, go team or whatever. And it's just kind of a spiritual bonding.
I guess it's kind of like a symbol of our school, of like what we're feeling. Like I know that we had a teacher that passed away, and on the rock we painted "We Love You," the teacher's name, and it had notes from some of the students. I guess it's just what we're feeling at the time.
Sort of an outlet for the school. It allows people, just to say what they want, and it lets them promote themselves or promote other people in the school, and it doesn't harm anyone.
We have a number of projects at the school, such as the Corcoran project, where we are probably one of the first schools to truly link up with a major museum and demonstrate what a group of young people can do.
Okay, Project Enlightenment, go.
All right. Oh, I'm up. Project Enlightenment is a project in which students are involved in researching historical characters, and they're put into a salon at the Corcoran Museum of Art, and we sort of put on a historical show, and it should be an interesting experience. I myself am involved, and we speak to not the general public, it's like VIP personnel, like some head honchos and whatnot. And it's the first time a public school has been able to use a facility like a museum and use their props and be able to do such a large project, and it should be fun.
And this is really, I think, an example of the new movement in schools, especially McLean High School is taking that initiative, not only in interdisciplinary studies, but also expanding what kids' education really encompasses, and that's really experiences outside the school. I know with my character, I'm Madame Dubarry, who is a French madame, and I read her volumes of her life, and then took that into my character.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to the late 18th century in France. In France, we have an absolute monarchy. We are completely loyal to the crown. Le Roi Louis VI.
King Louis XVI.
I am Armand Emmanuel Duplessis, Count de Chinon, Duc de Richelieu. I am accompanied by this lovely madame on my right.
Je m'appelle Madame Dubarry.
Let us acquaint you with our royal.
Les États-Unis, the United States of America, is a struggling young nation trying to establish their beliefs and achieve a stronghold in the world.
Officially, over the summer we've had film shows, we've traveled to Monticello. We've logged in everybody's hours, and it's over 1,000 hours. It's outside of class time. It is not for a grade. It is not for an assignment. It is not for a salary promotion. There's no good reason for us to be doing this other than all of us love it.
The Corcoran just reopened its Salon Doré, which is the 18th century French salon that was imported from France to the United States earlier in the century by a famous senator from Montana. And they've just completed a nearly $1 million renovation on the room, and they were looking for a way to sort of open it with a bang. And thus the outreach project with the school gives an opportunity to not just have an empty room where people walk through. It sort of brings it to life now, since it'll be a living history exhibit in and of itself, where we'll try to reenact the time period.
Well, in the Enlightenment project, I'll be playing Thomas Jefferson. And as Thomas Jefferson, I will be in a salon, 18th century French salon, and I'll be discussing current events of the time with other political leaders such as Francisco de Miranda from Venezuela and a student of Adam Smith from England.
A strong central power will always diminish individual worth, since it inhibits initiative and freedom of thought. According to John Locke, the common man has rights which are inalienable and irreversible.
I really like learning a lot, and I thought this would be really interesting. I like Thomas Jefferson also. I think that he's one of our greatest founding fathers, and I see this as a great opportunity to study him really in depth and actually get inside of his mind. I enjoyed studying Thomas Jefferson a lot because of his multifaceted abilities. He excelled in science and architecture and poetry, and not to mention political science and things that like writing the Declaration of Independence that you already know about.
They were all the rich aristocrats in France. They all had their huge hotels in Paris, and they would have parties. Maybe like on a Tuesday night, Madame Necker would have all the aristocrats and nobles over for just a bit of talking and dancing, and so they would stand around and talk about political ideas, science ideas, and also gossip. So that was basically what it was, just a party.
These spheres and measured the amount of time it took each one to cool to its original temperature. The results of my experiment, however crude they might be, yield a possible geochronology of the Earth. I believe that the land of our Earth was revealed as the level of our oceans gradually descended. Fossils of seashells were discovered in the peaks of the Alps, driving my theory that the level of the sea was at one time thousands of feet deeper than it is today.
I agree with your estimation of the age of the Earth, as I know my uncle would. But I also know that he found your theory about the oceans covering the land quite ridiculous. He told me that all those fossils meant was that some pilgrims on their way back from the Holy Land dropped them years ago. I tend to agree with him that the creation of the Earth was a single comprehensive act.
But I do think you'll all understand when I say that there's method behind every rule and law created. It is not as though I base my decisions merely on my feelings or any other feminine manner.
Forgive me, Monsieur Necker. I did not mean to offend you in any way. My emotions tend to overwhelm me when it involves my people, and you could say my outburst is the way I express my feelings of patriotism. I understand that you have methods and that you work in the interests of the French people. But fortunately, we do agree that the rigorous search for truth by such great men as Newton must be maintained.
Newton's universal laws are all the more profound in view of the realization that the world is far, far greater than ever before imagined. The infinitude of creation is great enough to make a world or a Milky Way of worlds. Look in comparison with it what a flower or a bee is in comparison to the Earth.
Yes, I agree. My brother discovered the nebula Taurus. And from this, the idea that the universe is made up of thousands of star clusters arose.
Yes, I support your ideas.
With my brother and I's discovery of Georgium Sidus, or George's star, the seventh planet of our universe, it gave way to the idea that there are so many planets out there that we have not yet discovered. With our discovery of Georgium Sidus, we doubled the size of our solar system.
That's amazing.
McLean High School is a school with great richness and diversity in our background. We serve a large community. It is very much a community school with a lot of parental participation, Most of our faculty live here in the community, and we take great joy in moving the classroom beyond this school building.
We've got the Key Club and the Keyettes, which are the Key Club is rebuilding this year. They've done a lot of outside projects, and right now they're working with the old Firehouse Teen Center in McLean, which is it's a place that houses alternative activities, which is working a lot closer to the school now. But they've been doing all sorts of community service activities, from recycling to helping people. Like one of the ladies in our school needed some help, and they came through on that project.
There's also the Interact Club, which is also involved in community service.
It's more than just Key Club and Keyettes, because a lot of people just do service like individually and stuff. And also like National Honor Society students are required to do certain numbers of hours of service, and we have like an after-school tutoring program on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and students can come there to get tutored in different subjects, and there's lots of other students there and some adults, and they help the students with subjects that they need to be helped in and stuff. So.
Our parents are exceptionally supportive. They're very involved. In the last few years, we have evolved a shared form of governance. In fact, we call it the Shared Governance Council. We meet weekly. Teachers are elected to serve on it. Students are elected, the student leaders, and parents are selected by the PTSA. And then, of course, they allow a few administrators to sit there. We never vote. If we cannot reach consensus, then we assume that whatever the policy change or suggested program isn't worthy. We continue to struggle to find better ways to do what we do. This school has had a history of being successful, and yet none of us think that we can sit on the laurels of the past.
We make decisions on big things. It's like the battery of the school, and we talk about school planning and how the schedule is going to be mixed up and matched. And they get all points of view. It's not like just teachers say, oh, this is what the students are going to like and all this. They let the students talk about it too. So it's kind of a mixture of everyone's opinion in that.
Communication is the key to effective school restructuring. And since the model of school restructuring that we have chosen is school renewal, and since you are the steering committee of school renewal, it is our recommendation that this body consider meeting twice a week. The first time in order to consider your regular shared governance agenda items, and the second time to begin to be hearing the reports from the steering committees. There's an awful lot happening in the committees that were set up by the school renewal program last fall.
The student body has changed over the years. The demands of this society and global education have changed, and we're trying to move beyond the traditional approach.
Some of them say that these people were truly hating of these races and individuals, and they wanted to express themselves. And some believe that they were just simply rebellious, and they just tried to express themselves, but they weren't trying to express a particular hate.
We have had many rich discussions about the need for schools to more deliberately incorporate ethical education throughout the curriculum.
The ethics classes, when we have a period devoted to ethics, it gives us a chance to discuss things that we normally wouldn't talk about. Like I know that the whole class pitches in, and like we talked about drugs and things like that, and like serious social issues. And I guess during the ethics lessons, it gives us a chance to talk about things not related to school, say what's happening on the outside, some of society's problems, and we just discuss that, and you know, it's a good discussion. Another program that McLean High School started. Our guidance counselor, Mr. Cashton, started it last year. And what it is it promotes racial harmony. Different race groups, or however you want to call it, get together and talk about, how we can have dialogue with one another. There's so many different races and cultures and creeds in McLean High School, and that's one of the things that makes it such a good high school. And we want to have dialogue between these groups and things like that. So that's another thing that McLean High School is working on.
Sometimes people don't know how to express their feelings, and that seems like the most powerful way is through violence, because people pay attention more to that than with peacefulness. They pay more attention to violence.
Sadly, yes, you're right. What would be an alternative to this? What would be your solution to this issue? Because they were reacting to this verdict in LA that sparked the riots. Reginald Denny was one of those innocent victims who happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
We said the economy was one solution, just putting the people in a stronger economic base where they don't have to be like in the city and in the slums, and getting them out, getting them into jobs, and getting them money to be away from this area like where violence is increased or decreased for that matter. And
this is a wonderful point. What is the connection between economics and violence? You're speaking to that issue.
I think that'd probably be one of the worst solutions possible, because the economy is always going to be temporary. The economy is always going to have its ups and its downs.
All right.
And it always has. And so that all the economy would do is temporarily make everybody happy. And then as soon as things got bad again, everybody's just going to...
The hatreds.
Yeah, it'll just all come back. So it has to be something different from just the economy.
They're gonna not have time if they're at a job to go and graffiti the Jewish Community Center. So, the most important thing is to concentrate on the economy and making sure that jobs are secure. But also, the school has to take on more responsibility and teach things like ethics about the Holocaust and discrimination from an early age. So, I don't know, education, economy, Liz.
Vice President Williams here is this year having an all-day seminar for our seniors in ethical decision making.
They took us out of school for one day, and we took a field trip either to a temple or a church, and they split up the senior class this way, and we had a speaker, and what he would do is he'd ask thought-provoking questions about morals and ethics, basically, so that it was a good time because the students got to learn more about themselves and what they, because he'd ask questions that you wouldn't even think of that might be hypothetical, but they were good questions, and it would make you think, oh, wait a minute, that could actually happen, not exactly like that, but it could happen in my life, and it made people think, which was good.
We were given the opportunity to break up into groups based on what we think our future career choices might be, and talk with people who are in those careers, so we could learn about the career we might be going into and the ethics involved in that. So it made it hit home a little bit more, since we're all thinking about college and where we're going now.
You absolutely cannot escape the fact that ethics and values and questions of right and wrong are issues that are confronting us every single day.
This is a rather massive program sponsored by the National Association of Secondary School Principals.
And so what we must do at our tables is to perform the very difficult but extremely important task of determining who is going to receive the one heart transplant from the heart that we have just received.
The goal is to help students work through a 6-step model for ethical decision making, so that as they finish high school, it's for all high school seniors, as they go through high school and then go to college and into the workforce, that they'll be able to use that model to make more appropriate and more positive ethical decisions.
I'm going to get you. I'm working my way over the table.
Well, basically, my wife and I are serving as MC facilitators and to try to lead the discussion, to present them with some fact situations, to talk to them about the importance of ethics and values in making decisions.
When you present topics clearly that they're interested in, they tend to want to get up and they want to stand up for their values. And I think that's one of the great things that's occurring in this program, because it's not only that they are talking about their values, but they're standing up for their values as well.
The guy shows up after being arrested. The officer with 19 and a half years on finds a little bit of cocaine, but he decides to flush it down the toilet. Okay, the rookie officer who's got 6 months on sees this. What should he do? Should he do nothing?
No, he should do something.
What should he do?
What
He should tell the sergeant about that and then take it from there.
So you think you should tell the sergeant? What's the feeling?
Why would they believe the rookie over the more experienced officer? You can't just go and just say something like that when you have less experience. Support your accusation.
Okay, that's true. He's flushed away. There's nothing but you, the bad guy, that they've arrested, and the veteran.
But they should take the toilet apart and get out.
Well, what do you think? What do you think?
Well, as a police officer, I think he has a duty, to do what's right. I mean, if he says pretends nothing has happened.
Okay, you're talking about the typical ethics, all right? Do you think somewhere in here I'd have to do that?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Who was? I don't remember
Bill, he was just an auto mechanic. He's never going to go anywhere in his profession, they think.
And he can't pay for the operation.
He can't pay for the operation. His wife's pregnant. So,
that's
one child.
I see. That's a plus.
So nobody that's willing to.
But what about the lady that she has 5 kids?
He's almost receiving. He has 2 kids depending on him. He's not the parent. The kids' parents died.
What about all the people that Alfred's gonna save? About all their lives?
There's no guarantee that he's gonna find a cure for cancer, man. How can you be so sure?
David has 3 lives to take care of, not only his, but his brothers and sisters. And they're young, they can't help themselves. So.
Alfred does too.
He's 19 years old. He has a future, dude. He could accomplish more than Alfred. I mean, he might find a cure for cancer. How do you know Alfred's gonna find a cure?
Alfred's gonna find a cure for cancer?
What if he does? What if he does?
We need more facts.
I know, but the father's working and he owns his own business. His mother lives with them.
David, at the very least, if you want to disregard everything that he's had to say about himself, he has the least bad about him, just to begin with. And then you can look at all the potential that he has in later life.
It seems you're picking him because of a business. I mean, just because you have all these degrees or whatever, or you have potential for businesses, doesn't mean you automatically should get the heart. I mean.
No, but he seems the most determined to do something with his life.
I think the overall theme lately in the school has been not just academic life and math and history and whatever. They're trying to encompass a whole different sort of things. That's what life is really all about. I mean, you can't just go on to college knowing that 2 + 2 = 4. That's not going to do. And the school is doing, again, through all these things, through the projects and through the community services and through the ethics program and things like that. Everything's being encompassed into what we're really going to be expected of when we go into college or later on.